Okay, let's get down to business, shall we? So, since it's fresher for you, and you're going to help me jog my memory, tell us, and you've made it, what, you're on day 31 now?
31, yep.
31, okay, and do you mind sharing how much you've lost? You don't gotta say, like, your starting and ending weight, but...
No, I don't mind doing that. 186 was my start weight. I don't have, like, legitimate measurements of my body, but I was a size 15, 16 in pants, jeans. Weighed myself this morning, currently 174, and down to a 12 pant size. Been staying there pretty much for the last, like, week and a half. It's not moving too much, but then again, I haven't been walking as much either, so that might be part of it.
One of the questions I had, because I know you've been really curious about your cycle, if you were going to have any, like if it was going to affect it or be a little bit different, because I know you deal with a lot of, your endometriosis and stuff. What did you notice? Did you notice anything different yet, or?
The uncomfortability and gas and different stuff like that didn't affect me for as long. Obviously, I was only 2 weeks into it before I got my period super early. So women be wary of that your first period after you start might come super early or late. So mine was 2 weeks early. I still had a lot of my normal endometriosis pains, which obviously I don't think that this way of eating is going to change that part too much, but it didn't last as long as it normally does. My bloating didn't last as long as it normally does. And my mind was more clear and my emotions were more settled and not all over the place.
Yeah, so that's what I noticed this time for you, like talking with you and stuff. It doesn't seem like you had so many of the, going through like the ovulation and, starting and all of that. Like it kind of, like, you were feeling certain ways, but it didn't like really...
It didn't overtake me like it usually does. Yeah. It was more normal and like easier to deal with. So I'm interested to see what the next period will be like that, because it'll be at least a full month. Instead of just a couple weeks. So we'll see how the next one goes.
Yeah, because I've been very curious to see how this affects or could possibly affect, your cycle and stuff, since I started right after, a week after I got the hysterectomy. So I don't know how, I can't compare it to period symptoms and all of that. Like I know, and I can't even really connect any of it to hormones and stuff, because after having like the hysterectomy, it takes a while for your hormones to kind of level out and become normal. So I have just no clue. I can't relate, or I can't like contribute the diet or the hysterectomy to what hormones and kind of all that. So I'm kind of really curious to follow you and know kind of what your experience is with.
I think it'd be interesting to hear from somebody who has a sort of normal period too, because I don't. Because with my endo, I'm always going to have pain, worse. So I would be interested to see somebody starting this and then how it affected them. Being somebody that just has a normal period and not like excruciating or any other illnesses attached to it. But you don't hear people talk about it too much.
No, you don't, and that's what, that's
well, most of the people I follow are older, so I feel like a lot of those women might already be peaking into menopause. So I haven't seen too many very young women doing it, and the ones I've seen, I have yet to hear them talk about their cycle, so.
Well, we're all tuning into you. We want to know what's going on. What's happening?
Good so far. We'll see how the next couple months go.
One of the things that I've been kind of wanting to talk about, because I know we've talked about it a little bit, that I kind of wanted to dive into, would be kind of like the mental clarity and what that kind of meant for you, and kind of like what that meant for me and what that looked like, and kind
Mm-hmm.
of what it looked like prior. For me, um, there was just like a lot of that fogginess, and we've talked about it always feels like kind of like there's that veil there, like you're
Yeah.
observing everything that's going on and you're just kind of cloudy, and it's just not like a clear, like you don't feel completely present, like you're present in those
Yeah.
moments but you're not really feeling those moments. And I know this is something that Haley and I have talked about, we've all talked about.
Yeah.
And
Kind of like when you drive through the fog, you can see,
yeah, but
but
you
not clearly, and that's just your normal.
yeah, so and that's what I've been operating on for so long.
Yeah.
And there'll be like moments of clarity, especially like I think during my cycle, like certain parts of
Mm-hmm.
it when it would peak, I would have more mental clarity and I'd be more energized, more, kind of focused. But then
Mm-hmm.
once that part of my cycle was over with, completely just back to, you're struggling to fight to be present in those moments.
Yeah.
Um, and I noticed probably about the second week is when I really started to notice like that veil or that wall kind of getting pushed farther and farther away, like the very
Mm-hmm.
start of it. Like the first week, you kind of just feel a little bit, crisper, a little bit, clearer.
Mm-hmm.
And then by like the second and third week is really when I noticed or like took note of like, like things around me are starting, like it's just that wall is just kind of getting pushed back, like things are still
Yeah.
cloudy and you're trying to focus and see what the image is. But I'm hoping this like explanation kind of makes sense too. I know
Yeah.
you get what I'm saying. I'm
Yeah.
hoping it translates and that everyone else can get it. But the longer I stay on this way of eating, the farther and farther that cloudiness like gets
Which is away.
pushes
Yeah.
away. And it's really like interesting, and like I wish I knew exactly like, what is happening in the brain or the mind and like the chemicals and
Yeah.
all that is causing that. But yeah, what would be your explanation? Maybe you can explain it like.
I mean, similar. It definitely was around the 2 week mark. For me, I think it's different again because the ADHD crap. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I've always felt foggy. I've always felt like I am forgetful, like I'm missing things. Somebody that just like misses the punchline of the joke all the time. I just feel like that's how it feels, like you're just left out all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I've felt dumb my whole life when really it's not that. Like, your issues create certain specific issues for you, but having to feel like you need to be on medication to think more clear and then choosing to eat like this and it does it on its own is
Frustrating but eye-opening.
it's wild to change the way you're eating this drastically and then see such a drastic change, because I think especially as women we're used to dieting and trying to do these things, and then they either take forever, don't work, or we're depleting ourselves in order to get what we want. And this is not doing that. Like you're full after you eat, even if you only eat one meal, because it's real food.
Mm-hmm.
The more processed something is, the more hungry you're going to be because the more fake it is. So even if you just eat one meal a day, eating real things, it's just, it kind of baffles me every single day, honestly. But yeah, as the time goes on, I feel more clear. I think once my energy picks back up in a little while, then it'll be even better as far as mood wise,
Mm-hmm.
like happier. But yeah, just like think about driving with film on your car and you can barely see, like everything's hazy or haloed, and then all of a sudden they take that off. And that's how it is like when you get rid of all that stuff. And I've tested eating a couple things a couple weeks in that I wasn't supposed to, and it takes like a week for your body to push it back out and for you to get back to your normal. So in case people are wondering about that, like if you cheat, it's okay. You're not like gonna die, but you're gonna feel it a lot more.
Yeah.
Because of how clean you're eating. And it really reiterates how good eating like this is when you decide to cheat or decide to, not saying anything against cheating. I think you should just find healthy ways of cheating. Like, don't go back to eating freaking Oreos and stuff like that. But, you know,
because I think your body gets so used to consuming and having to utilize all the crap that you were having before. It just, it's normal now. So then when you switch to giving it healthy stuff, and then, you know, you go to have something bad, it recognizes that right away. It's like, oh no, you've been treating us good. Like, you know, like we know what's up now. We the gig's up.
We're gonna make you feel like crap now for the next week for your decision.
Yeah. So, what was the other thing I was gonna? Oh, there was something else I was gonna ask, and I can't remember now. It's gone. It flew the coop.
The mental clarity, we're still working on it.
We're still working on it. Well, yeah, so, I think I've expressed to you, expressed to Haley, so, because I just had the one doctor, carnivore doctor, I'm getting a bunch of my labs done and stuff, and so, like, the last, like, 3 months, like, I noticed that my energy kind of, like, is staying kind of there. Like, it's not, like, dipping down, but it's, like, kind of plateaued. Yeah. And I thought that, like, that could be due to, like, the hormone, like, all my hormones, like, leveling out and stuff, you know, now that my testosterone's going up, and some of my other levels are, like, going back up, you know, to more normal ranges and not being low. So I thought that, you know, I've been kind of just contributing it to just kind of hormone stuff and, you know, baselining. And then got some of the labs back, and then it dawned on me that it's kind of my own doing. Because of the Hashimoto's, I haven't been taking my medication 100% of the time.
Because you feel better, and then you're like, oh, I'm good, I don't need it.
Yeah, it's not even like a conscious choice. It's just when, like, everything's going good in your personal relationships, you're feeling like 100 times better than what you used to feel. Yeah. Then it's just, you know, when you're sick or you don't feel good, you know, it's kind of like you have a migraine. You're like, oh, I need to take medication. Oh, I need to take Excedrin. I need to take this. But then when you don't have that headache, or you're not feeling as bad, it's not.
You forget to do preventative stuff.
Yeah. So that was kind of my situation, and it just dawned on me that, oh, like, all of these kind of little symptoms that I've just been chalking up to maybe hormones, or maybe to this, or a little bit of, like, acid reflux, or, like, just little random things. I'm like, it now all just clicked, because I've been taking, like, notes and, like, knowing that there's been something a little off, and I've been feeling a little, like, not 100%, and I just, for some reason, it just didn't click until I got some of my labs back, and I'm like, dummy, I'm like, obviously, duh. Oh, so I'm kicking myself. So now I'm like, I moved right next to where I cook. So every morning I can, you know, take them when I'm cooking my breakfast, you know, like 30 minutes before. Because it would be so much easier if I can just take them whenever, or take them before I go to bed. But I was told I need to take them in the morning time, and on an empty stomach. So, like, that's, like, if you miss your opportunity in the morning to take it, it's kind of like you've missed your chance. Is how it was kind of explained to me. So, I'm hoping getting very consistent. And it's not even like I was missing them all the time. Like, I was missing, like, 1 or 2 doses a week. So I can't even say, like, I just stopped taking them, or was super horrible with them. So I'm hoping getting regular on that, and then taking upping the dose on the liver supplement and taking that more frequently, because that was the same situation, that'll get like my other levels up and help with that, and will help with the tiredness and kind of the sluggishness and kind of all the stuff that goes with Hashimoto's. So I'm hoping I'll get some of that under control, and I can start to have like climb up again for like energy levels and the mental clarity and everything.
Especially if we're going to go on that big trip next year, we have to have some strength and not feel like we're going to roll down the hill after 20 steps.
Yeah. So
I think that's probably one of the biggest questions I hear about eating like this, though, isn't it going to mess with your blood sugar? Is it going to do this? Like, are you going to be depleted in certain areas? And I think the thing to do is kind of what you and I have been doing. Now, obviously, it's going to be different for us. We've talked about this. You're very 100% all in all the time, whereas I am not and kind of want to mess with things, which I think is fine and probably normal for most people to kind of like test it. But I know that I'm deficient in potassium and a couple other things. And I know I'm likely going to have to do more electrolytes than the next person because of my fainting and issues that I have. And I think all of that's just a learning curve. You know, after the first month, I told you I was going to start introducing a couple things back in. And I have, and there's been a couple things that have worked and a couple things that haven't. But for the most part, my way of thinking has been correct of, let me just look at the things I want to add in and make sure the nutritional value is there. Like I've added berries back in, bananas. I want to try dates and see if that is going to be too sweet or how that's going to affect my stomach. But I've seen a lot of people try that. I think it's just very individual. Like I do think, like you said, you should do strict for the first 30 days. And then after that, tweak it and mess with it and see what works for you. Get your labs done. See if there's anything you need to up or decrease or whatever. But I think it's very personal and something that everybody should just kind of play by ear a little bit.
Yeah, not everyone's choices are the same.
Well, and not everybody's body. Like, there could be 200 people that go on this, and, 50 of them could be perfect and amazing, and everybody else could have these different little issues that they need to tweak, whether it's from pre-existing things or just because your body composition is different. Like, our bodies are completely different in where we hold weight and our height and different stuff like that. So I do find it really interesting when we talk how many similarities there are despite our differences. So
if I was convinced that we weren't being poisoned by the food, I could possibly be swayed to, have vegetables and, berries and stuff like that, but
yeah. Well, and I think the eventual goal is when you do eat those things, like if you're able to grow them yourself or get them at local farmers markets so you know that they're not sprayed with the same stuff that you buy in the store, then obviously that's the top solution. But obviously there's people that can not afford organic grass-fed beef and they're just going to do, cheap ground beef from Walmart, which is fine. You're still going to see great results. Maybe not as good. It might not be as clean, but it's still going to be a lot better than eating all the processed foods you were eating
prior. Yeah.
I just think a lot of it depends on where you are. Middle class, low class, upper. Obviously, if you're upper class, you could be eating some tomahawk steak every night if you want. But
some filet mignon
thing for us. Yeah, like
I want filet mignon wrapped in bacon, please.
Yeah, would I love to go buy half a cow and have all my stuff organic and have bought it locally? Yes, and eventually I think that will be the goal. But right now, the results that you're seeing just buying stuff from the store should show you how much better the results are going to be if you buy organically and grow your stuff and stuff like that. And it does really prove that so much of our food is poison.
tainted. Yeah. That's why I'm really trying to switch over to, finding local farmers and local places around here to get the beef and stuff, because I think that'll be a big kind of like step for getting like more nutrients and stuff, and I think just elevating it a little bit higher, because I think a lot of the little cows are mistreated in these, big places and, big corporations, and where it's like, mass production and stuff. I'd rather support...
Injecting them with hormones and...
Yeah, I'd rather, support the local farmers and have something that, it had a quieter, simpler life. It wasn't in,
shoved in a cage.
Yeah, walking in its own shit for, its whole life.
I think it would be interesting to get Eric's perspective on here after his first month is over, because as women, I think a lot of these foods and hormones and meat is going to affect us way more than men. Mm-hmm. Not all men. I think it would just be good to get his perspective, because obviously we're two women sitting here and talking about cycles, and wow, that's great. And I think we have a lot more in a way to think about, and like a lot more things that are going to be affected. Mm-hmm. I still think it'd be cool to hear a guy's perspective on his stuff. Yeah, and how his mood is.
He's, I think, a couple days past a week. Haley, how many days Eric's in?
I'll say he's 8.
Day 8, I think, is what he's in. Man. Oh, he no symptoms other than like a slight headache.
It's coming, don't worry.
I'm like, of course he had to not go through all the symptoms like all three of us girls did.
Well, and that's part of the thing I think is cool to talk about, though. Uh-huh. Like, men, it's going to be so much different with men. And for the most part, what I've seen, even with videos I've watched of people doing this, these men can eat so much more.
Him and me are pretty tied with what we can eat.
Well, you've always been able to eat more. I've always eaten like a bird, so I don't know.
What, Haley?
You cow.
She says, you cow. I have 4 stomachs. I swear I have 4 stomachs.
I wish I could eat more. I watch these videos and these people, and they're like, I had 10 eggs this morning and a 10-ounce steak, and I'm like, I had 2 eggs and 3 pieces of bacon, and I could not eat the rest of the day, and I'd be fine. So that part's interesting, too, what people can... I'm sure it'll, like, once my energy goes up and I'm working out, I'm sure that'll go up and I'll be able to eat more, but...
Yeah.
It's just interesting.
Yeah, he's just gonna be like, oh, it wasn't that bad. The first week wasn't that bad. Like, shut your mouth.
What if he's snacking?
But Haley, good though. He can talk about the energy drinks.
Haley's like, what if he's been snacking in the middle of the night? Is why.
Maybe.
No, I think
I'll never
know. I'm gonna go inspect his the bed, see if I see any crumbs.
It's gonna be like basic training. You're gonna have to like look under the mattress and stuff. There's gonna be stuff. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, well, Hershey bars.
He probably so good. Yeah.
No, he's been doing really good. Yeah, we're starting a movement over here. So he got another coworker that just started yesterday. Yeah, she did it, and she's putting her husband on it and her daughter, and she's like, they have no choice. They're doing it. And then so he has two coworkers, their family. Haley's been doing it. Eric started it. Dad's been on and off. And then Eric's parents just started. I think they're on day 3, Haley said.
I know that my parents are going to try it, but I think they're going to wait to try it until they see me. Mm-hmm. I think next time they see me, they'll really understand.
Well, and it might be nice when you're physically there and can, like, maybe do some of the meals with them, or, like, go shopping with them. And
oh, yeah, Dad'll probably want to be like, let's go. You show me what you bought, and I would love for them to try it. He was talking yesterday just about, He wants to get mom out walking more, like even if it's just 5 minutes a day. Like if she has to use a walker or her cane, that's fine. Just exercising more. And so I'm hoping that by keeping them up to date with my progress and stuff, that they'll want to, because they're already showing interest. So it'd be good.
And it's not that I'm like, I want
other hand.
What?
I said my husband, on the other hand.
Well, I thought he was interested in. I thought he was interested or wanted to.
It seemed like it at first, and I think he will eventually. I just don't see him doing it strict. He will eat the meals I make. When I make the taco bowls, he's all about it. He said that's one of his favorite new things.
I made it for Eric. He loved it.
Yeah, I think it's really good. It seems so simple, but I don't know.
I told him, like, don't get used to it. I'm like, this is a treat. I'm like, this is like an end of the week treat here. I'm like, because it has the sour cream in it, and the one I got, I haven't been able to find again, so I've been like really like try not to consume it. But it only has I think like one gram of carb in it, I think, or two grams of carb, and I think 0 sugar or something like that. It's a pretty clean sour cream. But I just haven't seen it in the stores again, so I'm like, I really don't want to go through it, and then like, because I don't want to switch to one that has higher carbs in it and more sugar. But yeah,
well, and that's part of stuff too. Like I was talking about earlier, there's people that just have Walmart or their local grocery store, and you just got to work with what you got. I would love to be in a place where I have Trader Joe's and these different things that offer much healthier options.
Yeah.
But currently I'm not. I do what I can in certain areas, but I think once we get settled, when we move, it'll be more of I'll be able to like look up online, like, hey, maybe I can order some of this stuff just for me, since I'm the only one doing it. Maybe I can get it shipped to the house and have a couple better brands or whatever. And then, you don't have to think about so much of the carbs and sugars that might be in those, because if they're cleaner, they're likely not going to.
So what other, because we talked about like the first week of, and so I wanted this one to be the focus of the, the first month. So is there any other like things that you've noticed that are kind of different than what we talked about for the first week? Like, I think the biggest change or difference is kind of more of that mental clarity that we talked about. Other than that, the only other thing I really noticed was kind of the cravings kind of really died down by like the second week. I mean, they like went down the first week, second week, and then by like the end of like the first month, you just didn't really have any cravings for, sugar and all that kind of stuff. Like, you think about it, but none of it really sounds good. Like, you're not, like, jonesing for it. At least for me.
I still have a little bit. I put maple syrup in my coffee. I don't put a lot, and I don't even put one serving size. I put like half of one serving size. I was off coffee for the first 2 weeks completely. No coffee, no nothing. But then I switched to having my coffee with heavy whipping cream and 100% maple syrup. So I still get sugars from that. And then since I reintroduced berries, which it's been a week and a half since I did that, have not seen any adverse effects from that. So that's where we're probably going to differ, is you're probably going to really be more strict with the sugar.
It's like a no-go for me. Like, I'm trying, like, obviously you get some a little bit from cheese, but I always try to make sure the cheese is like, zero sugars and 0 carbs or whatever. And then, I'll occasionally have either heavy whipping cream or half and half, like a half a serving of that in the morning. And then other than that would be just the sour cream. So like, I don't add any sugar to anything, like, cause I'm really trying to like kill off the SIBO and and
Which makes sense.
so
Yeah.
I'm really killing off that, and I just really wanted to detach that in my brain, and that like addiction and like getting that like dopamine or serotonin, release when you have the sugar. Like I want my brain to make those things and rely on making it itself, versus like relying on, oh, when's going to be your next sugar? When am I going to get a nice little, release of, feel goodness from, a little bit of sugar? Because it only takes, 1 gram, it only takes like a tiny bit to, to get that relief. So I really want to sever that and feel complete freedom from what I've had to feel my whole life, from wanting sugar and wanting that happy, good feeling and comfort from it. So
I think that's a good way to put it, because I think a lot of us eat for the dopamine and eat for the joy and the happiness of it, which there isn't anything wrong with.
I feel like there is.
Well, on every day, yes. What I was gonna say is, I think we're meant as humans to commune together and to celebrate together and to come together several times throughout the year to celebrate something, whether it be a birthday, an anniversary, this and that. But when it comes to every day, we've gotten to such a place of treat yourself, do you, self-care day. And it's, instead of it being self-care, it's turned into this selfish thing of you feeling like, I need to have a coffee every time I go to Target. I need to go to the gas station to get an energy drink, or this when I go on a drive. And I think that is the issue. Like, thinking that you need to have a treat every time you do something, instead of just focusing on, oh, well, family's getting together this weekend. We haven't all seen each other, but one other time this year, I'll let myself have a little bit of this or a little bit of that. And no, I don't think that means you should just go all in and like go eat freaking Mexican and chips and dip and a margarita and sweet tea after eating like this. But I think it's unhealthy to build a fear around food. And I think people just need to negotiate their own.
See, I like hearing like your, like, because we're, different, and I think how I'm a little bit more extreme, or, more to
you're more of a purist. And
like I have more, I think, just, I don't even know what to call it. Like my
But
views.
you also have more medical issues that cause you to need to hyper-focus more on this. Whereas other people, I think, if they just hyper-focus on eating better, that's overall going to make them feel a ton better.
Yeah, but I, like, also, I more believe that eating just meat and animal product is, like, the healthiest, like, way to treat your body. Like, and so for me, like, having, like, I get the sentiment of, coming together to have a meal. And, like you're talking about, Christmas or holidays, and, it's kind of like a traditional thing, or it's how you come together as a community, and you share a meal. I completely agree with that. But why can't that meal be animal based or meat? Because like back in like the
totally can.
Caveman days or whatever, go back at, meat based. So like I get it is a very community, and like I want to say, obviously it's like a comfort, but it's like a very community thing to do, is come together, share a meal. It's very instilled in us. But I think we differ. You're okay with having other stuff. It's okay to do that once in a while. For me, like, I don't see the purpose in it, because I just kind of see it as a gateway to, oh, I do it this one time on this special thing. Then it can lead to other times you justifying it more, but like, oh, well, I had it yesterday, I'll just do it this weekend. I'll just then it kind of like, because that's what's happened with me doing other diets and stuff. Like, I've firsthand experience that spiral and, justifying, oh, if I just do one more day, oh, okay, Monday I'll start. And then it's like 2 years later and you're like, man, can't get off the couch. And so it's like a behavioral thing that I don't really agree with. And if you're eating a certain way and you feel the way that you feel, then you're basically acknowledging that what you were having before is not good for you. So then it's like saying, okay, well, like once, a couple times a year, it's not good for you, so why stick it in your mouth? Just for, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. And I also think there's a way of going about that to where you could say, let's just make a healthier version of what we normally have. We want to do Christmas cookies. Well, let's find simple ingredients, better ingredients. Let's just make them better.
Yeah.
Let's make them healthier. And then it's not as bad. I totally get what you're saying. I think we've both gone into this knowing that you're going to stick with this as a purist and I'm going to push more towards paleo.
Yeah, which is okay. It's fine. And it's fun to talk about like the different, we're not made to all have the same opinions. Like, that's not how God made us.
And I think this has just been the gateway to me being able to really detox from sugar, get my mind in a better way, and get better set up and equipped to put myself in the place that I want to be with more of a paleo thing by adding certain things in that I do think that we should be eating some vegetables and some fruits. Do I think we should be eating all of them? No, because a lot of fruits have really, really high sugar content and stuff like that. And a lot of vegetables have stuff that messes with your digestion. I think starting like this really just triggers people to start researching more and getting more educated about things. And especially when you see such fast results, then I think that just really pushes you to want to do better and know more and really analyze what you're eating.
And this gives you such a great starting point. It's essentially like, an elimination diet. Like, you can add stuff in and you'll know what bothers you and what doesn't. Yeah. So it gives you a really good baseline for, doing what you're doing and adding stuff in, like, but good luck.
We're about to move up soon.
Okay.
Like a minute or so.
Well, thanks for talking with me again.
Just so you know where to edit.
Thanks for loving me. Well,
Haley doesn't want to add anything.
Yeah, Haley doesn't want to add anything.
All that stuff, but
the dogs are gonna bark because we got a delivery. Special mail time.
What time is it? It's time for mail.
It's mail time. Okay, well, I love you.
I love you too.
Alright. Bye.
Okay.